law enforcement was a sight to see. We should say thank you to the men and women of law enforcement who are here today and across Rock County and across the state of Wisconsin, because we back the blue. President Trump supports our men and women of law enforcement. We got a lot on the line. And let me tell you, it's going to be up to us to get the job done. We were out knocking doors in the city of Milton. We had about 20 people join together Sunday morning in Milton, go out and knock doors, talking to voters about the importance of this election. Talking about how under President Donald Trump, we've reinvested in the military. We reinvested in the Air Force, the Navy, Marine Corps. We do that so we can negotiate from a position of strength. And when we negotiate from a position of strength and President Trump leads the way, we're able to get peace agreements like we saw play out in the Middle East between Israel and their former foes. That's how you negotiate from a position of strength like President Donald Trump is doing. We also know that we want to get Wisconsin back to work. And before we got punched in the face by coronavirus, we had one of the strongest economies here we had seen in generations. And we're ultimately going to defeat this virus, and we're working our tails off to get the vaccine and get us all the way back across the line. And then the question is going to be, how are we going to rebuild our economy? And let me tell you, we need President Donald Trump at the helm to rebuild our economy, to bring jobs back to the state of Wisconsin. It is awesome to see a big crowd here today. And I have the awesome opportunity to welcome to the stage my good friend, the President's son, Eric Trump.
Wow. You know, it's not every day that you get to campaign with the guy that you went to college with, right? And Bryan Steil, the congressman, and I always joke that Georgetown produced 2 Republicans. Your congressman and me nowadays, so the greatest guy in the world. And guys, thank you for having me. And you know, as I walked in here today, I can't believe it. I was looking at a poll. The Hill came out with a big thing. Trump is down 4 in Wisconsin. And I'm sitting there saying, guys, we just left the site, and everybody knows it's Monday. In the middle of the day, we just left a site, I kid you not, that had 500 people, 400 people. We were packed in a crowd. It was the excitement that we have right now is unlike anything I've ever seen before. I mean, I was here in 16 and I was here in 18, and I'm telling you, we are stronger today, guys, than we have ever been before. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. And guys, when you look at this party, when you look at the Democratic Party, I mean, guys, this is no longer about Democrats versus Republicans. Honestly, it's not. It's right versus wrong. It's right versus wrong these days. You look at this party and you look at what these people stand for, right? And just look at their recent thing, court packing. How many of you are following the court packing? Yeah. Does everybody in here fully realize that means that it's not that they just want to put justices on the court, that they actually want to take a Supreme Court, which has 9 judges on it, and they want to expand it to 15 or 18 or 21 or whatever. These people are crazy, guys. These people are crazy. So you look at the Democratic Party. You look at, this is not the party of JFK. This is not the party of Bill Clinton. You look at the Democratic Party today. What do they want to do? They want to raise your taxes $4 trillion. They want to take back all the tax cuts that my father put through, right? The largest tax cuts in history. They want to raise your taxes by $4 trillion. They want to ban plastic straws. That's like a big thing of theirs, right? I mean, you know, you have cities burning. You've got homelessness running rampant in Kamala Harris's San Francisco. I mean, literally, you can't walk down the street without walking across a hypodermic needle, but they're focused on banning plastic straws. That's like really, like, that's their priorities. And Kamala Harris came out last week. She goes, we're going to limit the amount of red meat that people eat. And did anybody hear this? It actually got by most of the media. She wants to limit the amount of red meat that Americans eat. Seriously, this is part of their platform. You can't, honestly, you can't make it up. They attack law enforcement every single day. They wanted to abolish the police. You had Kamala Harris literally compare ICE officers to the KKK in a congressional hearing. Everybody saw that, right? She compares ICE officers to KKK. And then you have Biden coming out, well, we want to reimagine what policing is. We want to reallocate funds for policing. We want to take the funds away from police and we want to put them into social workers. And I'm sitting there saying, if somebody's driving at like 120 miles an hour down the highway at 3 o'clock in the morning, is the social worker going to pull that person over? You know, when the drug dealer is selling drugs at your kid's school, is it going to be the social worker who goes and arrests that drug dealer? I mean, these people have lost their minds. These people have lost their mind. Law enforcement in this country, they're the greatest men and women we have. And by the way, there's a bunch of them in the back of the room, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. This country is behind you 100%. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to the nonsense. This country is behind you guys 100%, and we as a family love you. So thank you for all you do. And guys, I'm not just talking about troopers, and I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about DHS, and I'm talking about FBI, other than James Comey, who's a total crook. I mean, well, can we exclude James Comey from that? And Secret Service and sheriffs and troopers and I mean the police are the greatest people we have, and when you see this attack on them, right? And these guys these men and women want to take care of the problem in Seattle and all these places more than anyone, and they can do it. But you have these liberal far left mayors and governors that literally won't let them do it. Look at my home city of New York, and it's a total shame. You literally have a mayor and a governor that stripped $1 billion. They're incompetent. They're totally incompetent. They stripped $1 billion out of the NYPD. Think about this. They stripped $1 billion out of the NYPD. They got rid of all undercover law enforcement, and they're shocked to see that crime goes up by 300% in 90 days. Like, does that surprise anybody in this room? But guys, that's the kind of leadership that we have, and I mean so you have a party that wants to go after your First Amendment. You know, they'll censor you. They'll censor you on Twitter. They'll censor you on Google. They'll censor you on Facebook. If you post a video that they don't like, they'll literally kick you off these platforms. They'll go after your faith, right? There's an organized kind of crusade on religion these days, and I don't know what that's all about. There's an organized crusade on faith in this country, and it's absolutely horrible to see. And you saw that they took out Under God and the Pledge of Allegiance during the DNC. Did everybody see that? All right, and you know, they want to come out, they want to take In God We Trust off of national currency, and they want to take the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools. And why? Why is it that the Democratic Party has become the party of the quote-unquote atheist? I mean, Amy Coney Barrett, right now they're attacking her literally as we speak because she is Christian. By the way, we're going to fill that seat. You better believe we're going to fill that seat. But they can't attack her on her qualifications. They can't attack her on her education. They can't attack her on anything. So guess what they do? They attack her because she's Christian. Does that sound right? So they want to go after your First Amendment. They want to go after your religion. They want to go after your Second Amendment. They certainly want to take away your guns. I don't think that's all that popular around here based on the looks in this room, and I'm the biggest proponent of the Second Amendment. They want to increase your taxes. They want to get rid of 180 million private health care plans. They want to socialize medicine. They want to keep you from eating beef. They want to take away plastic straws. But other than that, these people, and they want to pack the Supreme Court. But other than that, these are wonderful human beings. I mean, it's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. And you look at the candidate that they picked. I mean, look at Joe Biden. This is a guy, he left his basement for the first time like 4 days ago. And a reporter comes up to him, "Sir, Mr. Biden, please, sir, where are you traveling to?" Could you imagine my father ever got that question, "Where are you traveling tomorrow?" Like, you have Acosta that's screaming and yelling at him, and they're calling him all sorts of things. They're calling him Ray. They're calling him all sorts of nasty things. They go up to Biden, "Please, sir, can you please tell us where you're traveling tomorrow?" Like, I wish my father got one of those questions throughout his entire presidency. He turns around to his wife. He goes, "Honey, where are we traveling tomorrow?" She goes, "Florida, honey, Florida." "We're going to Florida tomorrow." The guy leaves his basement. The guy leaves his basement once a year, right? Leaves his basement once a year. He never goes anywhere. He certainly doesn't come to Wisconsin. He doesn't go to Minnesota. He doesn't go anywhere. He leaves his basement once a year. He doesn't even know where he's going. Guys, it's embarrassing. He called Arizona. He did a Zoom conference call to Arizona. And he goes, "It's wonderful to be in the great city of Arizona." I go, that's like a wonderful thing, other than Arizona's not a city. It's a beautiful, great state that he has to win in order to, I mean, it's unbelievable. He goes, "I just pulled 740 million women out of poverty in the United States." It's like, wow, that's a lot of women considering there's only 340 million people in this country. And I go, damn, this guy deserves to win. He just pulled 740 million women out of poverty in a country that only has 340 million people. And you saw that speech the other day, right? This is like the greatest of all time. He gave a speech the other day, and he said that, by the time he's done speaking, 200 million people will have died of the coronavirus. And we're like, ooh, this is a really bad pandemic right now. Like, this is really bad stuff. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Like, he literally doesn't know the difference. Like, he can't place like a comma in, like, he doesn't know if you add like an extra 3 zeros, it's like 1,000, and so on and so forth. Like, he literally doesn't understand like the structure of numbers. So he'll call like 21,000, 21 million. He'll call 21 million, 210 million. I mean, it's like an amazing thing. And this is the best and brightest that they have, guys. It's incredible off of this radical platform. And guys, make no mistake about it. He's not in charge of this thing. Everybody knows that he's not in charge of this. I mean, 3 weeks ago he was saying we don't want any oil and gas. We don't want any fracking. We've got the greatest natural gas. We've got the greatest oil and gas reserves in the world. In the world. China would do anything to have 1/1,000th of the energy reserves that we have in this nation. They would do anything. Anything. It's why we have like $1.90 gas at the pumps, right? We're energy independent because of my father, because he allowed pipelines to be built and he started drilling. And these guys come out, we want to get rid of all oil, we want to get rid of gas, so you've got the cheapest gas ever, we're exporting gas for the first time, oil and gas, we're not buying it from Iran and Venezuela and Iraq and countries that hate our guts. We're exporting oil for the first time to friendly countries, right? It kills those other countries that don't like us, which is kind of a good thing, right? And they're saying, we want to eliminate all oil and gas. And then you have the mayor of LA, this is not a joke, you guys might have seen this. You have the mayor of LA come out and say, please unplug your refrigerator, please turn your thermostats up to 80 degrees because California doesn't have enough energy. California's out of energy, it doesn't have enough energy. So we've got the greatest energy reserves anywhere in the world, we're flush with energy. And literally, the mayor of LA, the largest city in California, which would be the 8th largest economy in the world if you were to take it off of California, is telling people to unplug their refrigerators. I mean, this is the Democratic Party for you. It's not even the Democratic Party. It's a far left party. JFK would be sitting in that front row right now. This is the far left party that we're dealing with right now, and it's run by Ilhan Omar, and it's run by AOC, and they don't have any clue. In fact, you guys might have seen this in New York. Amazon was going to come into New York. And she goes, no, they don't pay their fair share in taxes. They lost 25,000 high-paying jobs coming into New York. And now you have a governor who's out there every single day. You guys have probably seen this, begging, please, I'll take you to dinner if you just come back to New York State. I'll take you to dinner. I'll buy you cocktails. I'll take you to dinner. Guys, these are our politicians in Washington, D.C. They don't have a clue. You have Joe Biden, who's been there for 47 years. That means 10 years before I took my first breath on this earth. I'm not kidding, guys. I mean, actually a little bit more than that, like 10 and a half years, right? 10 years before I took my first breath on earth, this guy was in government. Think about that. It's insane. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. And you have my father on the other hand. He wants the greatest military in the world. And he wants to take care of our veterans. How many veterans do we have in this room? We love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you for the service. Thank you, man, for the service. Why did it take a real estate developer who knew nothing about politics to come in and fix the VA? I mean, it's a real great question. The VA wasn't working. So he goes, you know how we fix this? It's very simple. If you don't like the VA, if you don't like your service, if it takes you 6 months when you get a cold to go in and get a Z-Pack, guess what? Go to your private doctor and we'll cover all the costs. And you know what's amazing? How fast the VA was fixed. All of a sudden, the VA was fixed because they realized they no longer had any customers and they had to do better. And in the places that the VA was still doing a poor job, guess what? People just went to private healthcare carriers and they took care of the problem. I mean, why did it, that's not that hard. Why did it, and a lot of people fault my father, don't get me wrong, they fight him on everything, but why did it take a real estate developer to fix the VA? one of the first things they told my father when he got in, I kid you not, I remember this story like it was yesterday. He came up to me, he goes, I can't believe it. One of the first things that the generals told me when I got in was, sir, please don't get into any conflicts, because as a nation, we are largely out of ammunition. Meaning the United States military was effectively out of ammo. You've heard that, you're nodding your head in the background. We're effectively out of ammo and bombs. So God forbid you ever had to take on a bad adversary around the world. We were literally that depleted. Now, no one in this room has a ammo shortage, that much I can tell you, all right? Yeah, U.S. military, just go to Wisconsin. They'll take care of you. You're in good shape. But how in the world could Biden and Obama allow the United States military to virtually run out of ammunition to not be able to defend ourselves? I mean, it was the same thing with PPE, personal protective equipment. All the stockpiles were done. It was the same thing with the national, petroleum reserves. The strategic, petroleum stockpiles that we have in this country. They were all empty. Why is it that we could run out of ammo, run out of fuel to allow the military to fight, run out of personal protective equipment in the event that we ever had a pandemic, all at the same time while that party is giving $150 billion to Iran, a country that literally chants death to America? So the same party that wants to increase your taxes by $4 trillion is willing to give $150 billion to a country that chants death to America. I mean, this incompetence, you literally, guys, can't make it up. And the only people who could do this are people who have been in government for 47 years. Meaning there's not a single person in this room who would think that's okay, that would give $150 billion to a country who's going to use it to build missiles to literally launch at U.S. bases in the region, which is exactly what they decided to do. I mean, guys, you can't make it up. And then you have Kamala coming out the other night and, during that debate. By the way, how well did our vice president do? You had Kamala Harris come out and say, but Joe Biden saved the auto industry. And I'm saying there, please let me fact check this, please tap me in, please let me. He's from a little place called Wilmington, Delaware. Everybody knows this, right? At some chance, Google his house and tell me if you think he could afford his house on the water in Wilmington, Delaware after being in government for 47 years. Do me a favor, just Google his house and tell me whether or not you think he could afford that from simply being a United States Senator for 47 years. I think you'll know the answer to this question. You guys would, I think you know the answer to that question. Now, I mean, but guys, think, so Wilmington, Delaware had the biggest automotive plant on the East Coast, right? It was called the Wilmington General Motors plant. And while he was vice president, year number 1, 2009, guess what plant closes its doors? Lights get turned off, chain link fences go around the parking lot. The GM plant in Wilmington, Delaware, which is his hometown. And then you have Kamala Harris the other night coming out and saying he saved the auto industry. I mean, it's lunacy. It's lunacy. And 3 weeks ago they were literally taking this position. We want to abolish all police. And then he shows up in Pittsburgh, and they're not too big fans of abolishing police. And they ask him, sir, we hear you want to abolish police. It's probably going to cost you the state of Pennsylvania. No, man, I don't want to do that. The other guy wants to do that. And they do the same thing with oil and gas, right? I hear you want to ban fracking. He gets in Pennsylvania, and it's not very popular. No, I don't want. I mean, it's like we live in the 1860s and we don't have Google and YouTube and everything else. Like, he literally believes that he can say he didn't say something that was on camera 2 weeks before, that everybody circulated around Instagram and Twitter, and that everybody will believe him. And you know what's amazing? The media carries his water for him. I mean, the media carries his water for him. Like, they are the most dishonest people in the entire world. They won't report that, I came here to Wisconsin today and I had crowds of hundreds of people in multiple locations, yet when Biden comes in, who's actually on the ticket, and I want nothing to do with politics because I think most politicians are terrible people, other than one. Politicians are terrible people for the most part. And Brian. Brian's not a terrible person. Where are you, Brian? We love you, Brian. And Glenn Grothman, wherever Glenn is, he's great. There you are, Glenn, in the back. He's not. But they won't report on that. Then Biden shows up in Arizona and there's literally no one there. There's no one there. There's actually a reporter, like a little local reporter, and she goes, I think we're in the wrong location. There's no one here. Did anybody see this? And then Biden's caravan comes pulling up And Biden steps out very slowly. He steps out. She goes, no, we're in the right location, but I don't understand. I mean, there's literally no one here. Yet I'm not on the ticket, and everywhere we go, we have hundreds and hundreds of people. And then they'll tell you that we're 10 points down in the polls. I mean, we love you. We love you. I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you think Joe Biden has any people coming to an event that have sparkly headbands with stars and American flag? Look at this. You literally have like a red, white, and blue lei on, and look at that, the Trump scarf. You think they have this on the Biden side of it? But guys, and then the media will go out and they'll lie to everybody, and they'll make everybody believe that Biden's 10 points ahead in the polls. You know, Biden right now, the media has 4 points over Obama in 2008, and with all due respect, we know Joe Biden's no Obama, right? In all fairness, right? He didn't have the movement. He's got no charisma. He's got nothing, right? I mean, the guy literally doesn't know where he is. He doesn't leave his basement, and they literally have him doing 4 points better with Obama, if you can possibly believe it. Guys, we're stronger today in Wisconsin than we were in 2016. There's no question about it. And so you have my father who wants to protect our economy. He wants the greatest economy. He wants the lowest unemployment. And he is building the greatest military the world's ever seen. He doesn't want to use the military, but if we ever had, in fact, he wants to get out of every country that we've been sitting in for 20 years. But he wants a military so damn strong that if we ever had to use it, it would be over in about 3 seconds. It'd be over in about 3 seconds. You'd go in so viciously and so decisively that no one would ever mess with you again. And then you can go back and you can have the greatest military in the world, and you can keep it there, and everybody knows not to mess with the United States, as opposed to literally camping out in the middle. As opposed to camping out literally in the middle of deserts for years on end, getting plenty of people hurt and killed. So you see what he's doing, the biggest aircraft carriers in the world, the best submarines. You see the Space Force, you know, the best satellites. And the best new weapons that they can't even talk about, and everything else. So you know, the economy and the military and veterans, you know, and healthcare. You see what he's doing literally with pharmaceuticals right now. I mean, it was always an amazing concept. You could have a pharmaceutical company that would take a pill, they would take insulin, they would take, you know, an EpiPen. They would sell it to France for 1/10 of what they were selling it to any person in this room. And he's always sitting there saying, guys, this isn't right. Like, how in the world could you sell a tablet of whatever the medicine is to France for $1, but you're selling it to an American for $10? This doesn't make sense. So he did a little executive order the other day. Didn't get covered by the fake news, but did a little executive order. It's called Most Favored Nations, which is you can't sell a drug to another country at a lower cost than you would sell it to a citizen of the United States of America. You know, why in the world should we be subsidizing the R&D? Why in the world should we be subsidizing the research and development of pharmaceuticals for the rest of the world? I mean, why should the American taxpayer or the American healthcare system pay for that? So all of a sudden now you have that. You see him working to repeal Obamacare, which is the worst piece of legislation in the history of the world. Remember, you were going to get to keep your doctor, you didn't. You were going to keep your plan, you didn't. You were going to be able to save $2,500 a year. It actually cost you $2,500 more. And if you couldn't afford a program that you didn't want, that's not working, that's too expensive for you, they made you pay tax. They make you pay tax. You know, guys, it's unbelievable. My father's going to protect, by the way, pre-existing conditions. You know, it's one of his lies. I was at an incredible diner on the other side of the state this morning, and there was a big ad. Trump will take away, you know, health care from people with pre-existing conditions. Like, my father ran on the platform of protecting pre-existing conditions. They are truly the most dishonest people in the world. But what he wants to do to further reduce healthcare costs, he wants more tax cuts, he wants more deregulation, you know, he wants more help for farmers in industry. You know, after Biden voted for NAFTA, you know, Bill Clinton put it in, we lost 70,000 factories, 70,000 incredible buildings like this. And by the way, to our hosts today, thank you very much. You guys What an all-American dream story that is. We lost 70,000 factories after Bill Clinton signed NAFTA. Think about that number. And now all of a sudden they're coming back. And it's pretty simple. Guess what? You reduce taxes, you make companies competitive again. You reduce regulations, you allow them to be able to build phenomenal facilities like this, whereas years ago you couldn't even do it. They'd hold you up in so much red tape you couldn't even build a building. And you actually become a cheerleader for this country. And I think that's the one thing that the media doesn't talk about. I think the thing that my father will go down and known for is I think he's become the greatest cheerleader that this country has ever seen. And guys, we needed a cheerleader. We needed a cheerleader desperately. And you know what? For all the nonsense my father gets because he's a fighter and he's got backbone, this country needed a fighter like never before. We needed a fighter. Because we were being used and abused. We were getting ripped off by China. We were getting ripped off by Mexico. We were getting ripped off by NATO. We were getting ripped off by the European Union. We were getting used and abused by everybody around the world. And we're not anymore. You had Obama literally fly into China on Air Force One. Some of you might remember this scene. He lands in China. The Chinese government didn't even bring a staircase out to the plane. No red carpet, no marching band. They didn't even bring a staircase out. He walked out the back exit of Air Force One. There was no one there to even greet him. And guys, that's all changed. And I always say, if that was my father that day, and he landed in China, there was no one there to meet, it's not that they're meeting the president, they're meeting the United States of America. You're meeting the greatest symbol of the United States of America, which is a beautiful, magnificent plane. Nothing can rival it, nothing can compare. You're meeting the people of the United States, and guess what? They didn't even send a staircase. He would have said, Captain, fill up the plane, we're going the hell back to America, let's get out of here. And they're not doing that anymore. They're not playing games anymore. You know, after they put tariffs on China and they did other things, guess what? China had the worst year it's had in 70 years. And our manufacturing's coming back to this country and we're making things again in those very factories that I was talking about that were totally dark. Guys, they're coming back to light, and that's what we need as a nation. And I don't know why it took a real estate developer who knew nothing about politics to figure all of this out. I mean, I'll never forget, I drove to the Iowa caucuses in 2016, and I asked the campaign staffer, I go, can somebody please explain what a caucus is? And they go, sir, you're gonna go in one side of the room, and you're gonna talk, and you're gonna tell them why your father's better than they are. And like, there's like Jeb Bush there, and you like Ben Carson, you had all these people right there, right? And we didn't know what we were doing, guys. We had no idea. And it took a real estate developer to come in, and somebody was clearly looking down on us because we didn't stand a chance if somebody wasn't looking down on us, believe me. It was absolutely a case of David and Goliath, make no mistake about that. Because Hillary outraised us by, 5 or 6x. She raised 1.5 billion, we raised 300 million, right? And then she had super PACs and all sorts of other things. So make no mistake, somebody was looking down. Somebody made this happen because we had no shot. But it's amazing how it took a real estate developer from New York who didn't know anything about politics to go in, to break up the swamp, to break apart the system, to create peace in the Middle East, to close the border. Thank you for saying that. To restore common sense to Washington, D.C. Guys, they literally came out. You've had people in this far left-wing party right now that have actually called, it's kind of funny that you shouted out, the wall, that have actually called to take down the wall. Meaning, not just stop building it, meaning go and take down 350 miles of wall. You've got the lowest amount of illegal immigration in the history of this nation. You've got the lowest amount of drug traffic coming over the southern border than ever before. And these people want to take down the wall. I mean, it's like, and guys, that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting red, white, and blue. We're fighting for a flag that we love. We're fighting for a country that we love. We're fighting for a national anthem that we love. We're fighting for a country we love. We're fighting for law enforcement. We're fighting for military. We're fighting for businesses. We're fighting for beautiful kids. We're fighting for education and school choice. And guys, and yeah, certainly families. There's a war on the nuclear family in this country, and I don't understand it. There's a war on faith. There's a war on the nuclear family. I don't get it for the life of me. And guys, we're going to win this fight because we are on the right side of every single one of these issues. So guys, I want to say I love you. We really love you. We love Wisconsin. We're going to win it. You know, they started chanting that the other day. North Carolina and Arizona, they started chanting, "We love you. We love you." And you know, in 2016, we used to chant "Lock her up," and that's a funny chant. Everybody likes "Lock her up," right? Then we started chanting "Lock him up," meaning Hunter Biden. If I did 1/100th of what Hunter Biden did, I'd be in jail for the rest of my adult life, but somehow he gets away with it because he's got a D in front of his name. It's kind of interesting. I mean, could you imagine if I got paid $1.5 million? I'm sorry, $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? To the kids of University of Wisconsin right here, by the way, these guys are incredible. They made 900,000 phone calls. This is the Republican Party at University of Wisconsin. They made 900,000 phone calls for Trump, so thank you guys. But you know, they used to chant "Lock her up" and "Build a wall" and "Lock him up" later on, and there's a lot of other good ones, right? CNN, I won't say it in front of him because he's a beautiful little kid, but they had a good CNN chant, which was really great. But guys, in Arizona the other day when they started chanting "I love you," honestly, it's made it all worth it. For as many times as we've gotten punched in the face, for as many arrows as we've taken throughout this whole process, believe me, my father's life is exponentially better not being in Washington, D.C. I can say that definitively, and I don't think there's any person in this room who wouldn't probably agree with that. He needs this job like a hole in the head. Literally. But guys, we love this nation. We love this country. I've got 2 of those, and we're fighting for them. We're fighting for them, guys. And that's why we're going to win this. So God bless all of you. Thank you for the hospitality. You guys are incredible. You've got amazing company here. Thank you to the incredible students from University of Wisconsin. You guys can get back to partying as soon as Trump wins, all right? As soon as Trump wins, you can get back out to the bars and having a great time. I'm just kidding, only if you're 21. But guys, we love you very much. God bless you. God bless Wisconsin. And let's go win this on November 3rd. Get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. We love you. We love you. Thank you guys very much. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.